This is AP Calculus Self-Check 6.1 Solutions. As a rule of thumb, give yourself 10 minutes to do both part A and B. Here we go for the solutions. So this is our differential equation, and now we're doing our slope field. So we have our 8 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 on the other side. We need to make slopes through each of those points using this. This is basically saying the slope is guaranteed, or it is found using these variables. So notice that x is in the denominator, so all of these have the same x's. All of them are going to be 1. So I'm really just thinking about the y's. So let's try this first one. So y equals 1, it's going to be 1 plus 1, which is 2. So a slope of 2 looks like that. This one's going to be 1. Or sorry, the y is going to be 0, so this is going to have a slope of 1. It's going to be 1 plus 0 over 1. And this one is going to be negative 1 plus 1, which is 0, so it's going to have a slope of 0. And what about this one? So now the x has changed. The x is now 2, and the y is 0, so it's going to be 1 plus 0 over 2, which is 1/2, so it's going to be even less. So the things that they're looking for, make sure that this one is the steepest, this one has a slope of 1, that one has no slope, this one is slightly less steep than this one. That's the basic way of getting your full points on those. And how do we get full points on these? So here we go. All of our x's are going to be negative 1, so I just need to change the slope on everything that I had over here. I just need to flip it. So this is going to be a negative 2, this is going to be a negative 1, and this is going to be a negative 0, which is just a 0. And the same thing with this one. This negative 2 is just going to be flipped from this one. It's just a negative now. So this is going to be a negative 1/2. Perfect. All right, so how do you score yourself on this? Because it's not multiple choice. You don't get it or you don't not get it. You can partially get it. So I'm not exactly sure how I would distribute these 2 points, but I noticed that it has the sine and slope at each of these points, and they have relative steepness, of course. So I would say if you got all of the signs correct, so if these are all positive and these were all negative, I would give yourself 1 point. And if you actually got the right steepness of all of them, I would give yourself another point. So that's out of 2 points. Okay, now we go on to the harder step B, and where most of the points come from. And we're basically finding the particular solution to a differential equation. That means we're going through steps 1 through 3, not step 4. You don't need it to get the 5. You don't even need it to pass, or the 5. So let's go ahead and solve this. So I need to make sure it's fraction equal to fraction. Good. Now I need to cross multiply. So cross multiply. I get x dy is equal to 1 plus y dx. I need to divide both sides by 1 plus y, divide both sides by x, until I'm left with 1 over 1 plus y is equal to 1 over x dx. Now I'm going to go ahead and, so I've separated my variables. I did step 1. Let's go to step 2, integrate. So when I do my integration, I don't like fractions, get rid of them. So I have the integral of 1 plus y to the power of negative 1 is equal to integral of x to the negative 1. I should have written my dy's here still, sorry. dy, dx. And now I go ahead and check if I need taxman for here. Dinner, the derivative of inner, is 1. Therefore, we don't need taxman. Just go ahead and anti-differentiate. That's going to be the natural log of absolute value 1 plus y. And that's going to be equal to, antiderivative is going to be natural log of absolute value of x. Don't forget your constant of integration. Don't forget your plus c. And we also have this initial condition f of negative 1 equals 1. So this is our x, that's our y. So plugging in for step 3, and we have the natural log of 1 plus our y was 1 is equal to natural log, and notice I'm leaving this as a 1 plus 1, not 2. There is a chance that we might make some mistake here, so I'm just leaving it as simple as possible to make sure I get those points. Natural log of absolute value of negative 1 plus c. All right, I have done all the way to step 3. I haven't actually found the particular solution, but I don't need to in order to pass the AP test. I don't even need to solve it to get a 5 on the AP test as long as I average the same score. And what do I mean by that? So let's look at the scoring guide. So this is the scoring guide for part B, and this is all of question number 5, and we're done after this. Notice how many points you get. So separate the variables. That's 1 point. So up here, we separated the variables right here before we did the red, so we got our 1 point there, so plus 1 just from separating the variables. Taking the antiderivatives, whenever this is a two-pointer, that means antiderivative of left, antiderivative of right. If you do them both correctly, you get 1 point there, 1 point there. So antiderivative plus 1 there. Maybe I should be doing these in a different color. I can do them like in red or something. So that's a plus 1 antiderivative there, plus 1 antiderivative there. And constant of integration is another point. Just writing your plus c gives you another point, plus 1. And uses initial condition. This just means I plugged in my values. So plugged in this value, and I did that right here, so another plus 1. Look how many points we are. We only did a step 3. We just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So this is now 5 points out of a total of 7. Solving for y, and this one did have a domain that we needed to find too. You still did pretty well on this question, because assuming that you got all the points from part A, and you got 5 of the points from part B, you got these 5 points here, that means that you now have a score of 7 out of 9. 7 out of 9, that's the percent, not 0.77, that's the decimal, 77%. That is a crazy high percent to get on a free response question. By the way, what are we looking for? So if you're looking to get that 5, you want about a 70% per question. If you're looking for the 4, you're looking for 55%. And my personal goal is to make sure every student gets a 3. Every student passes. Every student gets 40%. So as of this step, we have now gotten 77% of this entire question right, which means we are actually on track to get our 5. Even by doing the first few steps, if you pretend you missed all of part A, what if you separated the variables and then you did the correct antiderivatives? I think you would also be able to do, these are probably the 2 easiest things to do. You add C and then just plug in. But if you only did these 4 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a 5 out of 9, that's a 55%. You are still on track for getting a 4. All right, so that's all I have for this Self-Check 6.1 solution. Go ahead and give yourself 10 more minutes for Self-Check 6.2, and I'll see you in the next video.